Orville and Wilbur are known for their Kitty Hawk flight experience, but before then they had two major endeavors. First, Orville made his own printing press, and then they made their own newspaper called the West Side News together. Secondly, in 1892, they went to make a bike shop to fund their interest in flight. They would read newspaper and magazine articles on Lilienthal, who quickly became their favorite aeronautical forefather. But sadly, in 1896, Lilienthal plunged to his death in his glider. This had a huge impact on the brothers and really made them interested in flying. In May of 1899, Wilbur contacted the Smithsonian Institute to get more information on aeronautics. The brothers started experimenting that year. In 1899, Percy Plitcher died in another glider crash. The death of Lilienthal and Plitcher justified the brothers' hypothesis that you need to have excellent pilot control. This is the key to a safe and successful flying experience. They had a three-part flying problem. The first part being wings, then moving to the engine, and lastly pilot control. Wilbur studied what he knew was successful at flying: birds. He studied the control of birds. They turned by changing the angle of their wings. They would turn into the turn just like a person would do while riding a bike, which they were already very experienced in. In 1900, the brothers went to Kitty Hawk, North Carolina, to start their gliding experience. They used past aviation pioneers' work to jump-start their first glider. First they used Sir George Cayley's chambered top, which was a curved top to help with getting a better lift. Next they used Chanteau's Pratt truss ideas to add a brace in between the wings. They flew gliders as kites. They would attach the glider to ropes with sandbags on the end to practice control and wind warping. Most of these flights were pilotless and only used for data collection. In 1901, they made a glider with a larger wingspan to try to increase the glider's lift. They flew 50 to 400 feet. The elevator parachute in the front made for a safer flat landing instead of a nosedive. This glider had two major issues. Sometimes it would turn the opposite way they wanted it to, and also only lifted about one-third of the lift that the Wright brothers intended it to. In October of 1901, the brothers made a huge wind tunnel in their shop. It was 6 feet, and they tested small wings made from scrap bike parts. The most beneficial data that the brothers received was from the wind tunnels and lift balance. The 1902 glider produced the amount of lift that the brothers had expected due to their tests in the wind tunnel and because they added a rear fixed vertical rotor to fix their turning issues. These tests were the most influential data that the brothers got. After they received this data, the brothers ditched Lilienthal's data. In October of 1902, they made a rotor movable and connected it to the rope that controlled the wing warping so that the pilot moved, so would the rotor. This offered the brothers the total control that they were looking for. This was the most important point in the journey to flying. Now that they knew they could steer, the next challenge they faced was to add power. In 1903, the brothers made a power flyer with drooping wings, which was unstable but less likely to get caught in crosswinds. The brothers were ready to start the construction of their Wright Flyer 1. They designed their own propellers and constructed a gasoline-powered engine in their bike shop. The hard part of these two was the propellers. They thought they could use data from ships, but soon realized there was none. After long debate, they concluded that a propeller was a wing rotating in the vertical plane, not the horizontal, after they realized that the propeller design was simple. On December 14, 1903, Wilbur flew the flyer for 3 seconds. The plane stalled and had minor damage done to it. After repairs, the brothers took flight again on December 17, 1903. Orville flew for 12 seconds and made it a total of 120 feet. Wilbur then flew 175 and 200 feet. In 1904, the Wright brothers made the Wright Flyer 2. They added ballasts and lengthened the supports of the elevator. This was to try to improve the longitudinal stability. On August 13, 1904, Wilbur made the best flight at Kitty Hawk, which was 1,300 feet in length. To make takeoff even more effective, they made a weight-powered catapult. They used this system on September 20, 1904, which made it possible for them to complete the first ever circle in the air. Their flight lasted 1 minute and 12 seconds, and they went a total of 4,080 feet. In 1905, the brothers made the Wright Flyer 3. They placed the rudder and elevator several feet away from the wings and enlarged them. In a series of 6 flights, the flights ranged from 17 to 38 minutes, and they flew 11 to 24 miles in total. These long flights convinced the brothers that they had reached their goal of creating a practical flying machine. The Wright brothers' data collection experiments, and final flyer has made aviation what it is today.